have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Thank you for joining us today as we prepare to kick off our program. I kindly ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by local Girl Scout Troop 23039 and Cub Scout Pack 602. If you could come forward. Where's 602? There we go. Come on over this way. Come stand right over here. Thank you. All right, go ahead and lead us off.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. They're still coming in. Thank you all so much. We do have a couple seats up front. Looking out today, I can confidently say that Dr. King's dream resonates strongly in the city of Laurel. We truly appreciate your presence here and thank you for attending despite yesterday's weather and the extreme cold that we've got going on right now. So as we gather today to honor and remember a remarkable man, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who peacefully sparked the civil rights movement from the Montgomery bus boycott in 1956 to his iconic I Have a Dream speech at the March on Washington in 1963, which paved the way for the pivotal Selma to Montgomery marches in 1965 for voting rights. These are just a few of his significant contributions. Though Dr. King was taken from us in April 1968 by an assassin's bullet, we are here because we share his vision and strive each day to keep it alive and well. Recognizing this day as one of action rather than a day off, in remembrance of Dr. King, we will first hear from the City of Laurel's Mayor Keith Sydnor, who will make the introductions of our council and community leaders, followed by the beautiful musical selections directed by Laurel High School Choir, directed by Kevin Lewis, choral director.
Good morning, good morning. Happy MLK Day. Happy MLK Day. Y'all excited? All right, let me see. I see Councilman Johnson here. Please stand up, Councilman Johnson. Any other directors here? Director Cornwell Shields here. Director IT is here. And our fine Laurel police officer in the back, always keeping us safe. They're here. But I know we're here to celebrate Dr. King's birthday, but I want to take us back to some history because I think it's very important for us to remember some history. I want to start off with Councilman Johnson because when Councilman Johnson was a city employee, just working here as a city employee, now she's a council member, and she started this MLK Day of Service, and that was 8 years ago. 8 years ago? Yeah, so here we are today from the vision Councilman Johnson had as an employee, and here we are today still celebrating. So thank you for the effort, Councilman Johnson. But Dr. King is one of my favorite. I got a lot of favorites, though, but I want to talk about just a couple of minutes about Marcus Garvey. Anybody ever heard of Marcus Garvey? All right, well, Marcus Garvey is way before Dr. King. You know, he was born in 1887, I believe. Don't quote me that date. In Jamaica. He came to America in 1916. He started the UNIA, Universal Negro Improvement Association, in 1914 in Jamaica. And he came to Harlem, New York in 1916. And he wanted to meet Booker T. Washington because he believed in Booker T. Washington, economic development, black folks doing for self, and things of that nature. You know, during that time of the period, everything was separate. There was a law in the book, 1896, Plessy versus Ferguson, that made a law that's separate but equal. The whites here, blacks there. And so later on, we'll get to that later with Dr. King. But I want to honor Dr. Marcus Garvey because yesterday, President Biden did something that was something that we was trying to do for 20 years, maybe 40 years now. John Conyers led a hearing in 1987. Congressman John Conyers led a hearing in 87 trying to overturn the conviction of Marcus Garvey. Let me tell you this. Marcus Garvey came here in 1916, and from 1923, he was convicted of mail fraud. His organization had estimated between 4 million and 11 million people in the organization in the United States, in Canada, Europe. And so at that time, as you know, when black folks trying to do for self, it wasn't allowed. So he was convicted of mail fraud that he believed that he didn't do just to get him out of the country. So John Conyers started the protest, overturned his conviction, and then Congressman Charlie Rangel of New York also wrote a resolution to overturn his conviction. And then in 2022, Yvette Clarke, another Democrat, congressman of New York, she started it as well. And yesterday, President Joe Biden exonerated Marcus Garvey. You know, so that's a hand clap right there. Now, I don't need that President Biden did over 8,000. President Biden, the highest 8,000 people was clemency and pardon, the highest than any president of the United States. That's another hand clap. Anybody remember Kimber Smith? She went to Hampton University, and she's caught up with the crack cocaine conspiracy and anything. Well, anyway, he exonerated her yesterday as well, so that's another hand clap. So we know President Biden is going to be out today, and President Trump is coming in, and we got to work with President Trump like any other president, because we're the president of the United States. You're the president for all the people. So we just hope that President Trump and this administration follow the vision that Dr. Martin Luther King said. You know, we know that quotas are put into a place to hire African Americans and women in the workplace, and then they came with this thing we call diversity and inclusion, and they're trying to take that away. We all need those rights because we are inclusive. We cannot be just one country with just one type of people. You know, look at this audience in here. So we need all of us working in Washington in politics. I'm here today because of the dream Dr. Martin Luther King had. Councilman Johnson's here for the dream Dr. Martin Luther King had. So I'm going to leave you with this. I tell the young folks all the time, there's 3 amendments I want you to know. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery. The 14th Amendment grant every American born in the United States citizenship. And the 15th Amendment gave you the right to vote. So the 13th, 14th Amendment, remember those amendments. And not only follow Dr. King, not from 55, from the Montgomery boycotts, to 63 when they had that dream speech, but go back home the day when you leave and listen to Dr. King's speeches from 66 to 68. There was a transition in Dr. King from that. He was still the same man, but he was asking for economics. He was asking for money, decent jobs, and things of that nature. So that transition led to his assassination on April 4th, 1968. So I just want to leave that little bit of history with you all. His dream continued. We're going to continue to fight. We're going to welcome President Trump as our president, the 47th president of the United States. You know, we're not scared. We're going to keep demanding stuff that we demand. You know, we're not going to ban history, black history in those schools. We're going to teach our history every day in programs like this. And I just want to say before I leave one more time, Mr. Lewis and the high school band, choir, they're always supportive. You know, everything that we ask this school to do, they come, even on the day off, you know, whether it's, so give them young people a hand. And Mr. Lewis and this high school choir travels all the time throughout the state of Maryland, and they need money. And so if you can donate some money, If you can donate some money to the Laurel High School choir, because they're always doing things, they need T-shirts and things of that nature. You know, the City of Laurel has been very supportive of them, and I'll support Mr. Lewis as well. So I just want to welcome you to our MLK celebration. I hope you guys have a wonderful time. And remember, today, as you go home, not just serve, but go back home and learn more things about Dr. King. Remember, from 66 to 68, everything's on YouTube. Learn that about Dr. King, and you'll be very proud, and you want to do more for our race and our people and our country. Thank you very much.
I'd also like to point over here, Council President Kyla Clark, please stand. She just walked in. Thank you for being here to support us. And now I'm going to turn over to the musical selection from Laurel High School, We Shall Walk Through the Valley in Peace.
Good morning, everybody. Just to echo his sentiments, the City of Laurel has been wonderful to us, which is why it's important to be here. And because of donations that the city has given us, as well as some of our own fundraising that we've done, we've been able to take care of our students. If you were selected, which we are the highest school in the state of Maryland, well, in the county, and second highest in the state of Maryland, with students selected to the Maryland All-State Chorus, would you raise your hand? Okay, yeah. That's not all of them. There were 10 students that were selected. Because of the donations and funds that we were able to raise, we were able to put the bill for all 10 students, which is a $6,000 bill. So they won't have to worry about any of those expenses. It's expensive, so keep looking at it.
I have the pleasure to present to you Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Five score years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. This nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today a dream that one day down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today that one day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is a faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, "My country, tears of thee." Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. Not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring. And when this happens, when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Figured today was the day to hear it in his own voice, so thank you. Thank you for letting me play that. We will have two selections from the Laurel High School Choir now, Lovely Day, and followed by, I don't have my program on me, can you refresh me what the last one is?
Make them hear you.
Make Them Hear You. So
When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes, and something without warning, love, lies heavy on my mind. Then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. And just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. A lovely When the day that lies ahead of me seems impossible to face, with someone else instead of me always seems to know the way. And then I look at you, and the world's alright with me. And just one look at you, and I know it's gonna be a lovely day. A lovely day.
night. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. And say to those who blame us for the way we chose to fight, that sometimes there are battles which are more than black or white. And I could not put down my sword when justice was my right. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. Go out and tell our story to your daughters and your sons. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. And tell them in our struggle we were not the only ones. Make them hear you. Make them hear you. Your sword can be a sermon or the power of the pen. Teach every child to raise his voice and bend my brothers then. Will justice be demanded by 10 million righteous men? Make them hear you. When they hear you, I'll be near you again.
Thank you so much. Dr. King's legacy was rooted in combating injustices. As he famously stated, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. However, it was also about kindness and service. He emphasized, everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't need a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. And it's that love that brings us here to help support those going through a hard journey of living with cancer. With the opening of the new University of Maryland Laurel Medical Center, we now have an oncology department dedicated to serving our community and the surrounding areas for people going through chemotherapy who need kindness and support to strengthen them on that journey. That is why we are here on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, to show them that they are not alone and that they have the support of the Laurel community behind them. So if you haven't already, please be sure to put your signature on the card in the lobby. We have a refreshment table over there, and next to that is a card with some balloons. Please put your signature on it because we're going to take that card over with these bags. And enjoy some refreshments, and let's begin to assemble those care packages. If you wish to stay and help, your assistance will be greatly appreciated also. This day is about community, so take a moment and get to know your neighbors and make those connections that honor Dr. King's legacy. Let me thank the city staff for all of their help in getting this together with the donations, Laurel TV for covering this live, and all of those that donated. My heart has been full with all the outpouring that has come. So thank you all so much for your generosity. So now it's time, let's get started. Woo!
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today